Hi, Robert. It's so great to be back with you. How are you doing today?
Great. Good to see you, Olivia. I'm really excited for our next conversation. This is going to be awesome.
We are doing another episode of Lawyer Up, and today we're going to be covering a few different topics. And I'm very, very excited to have some great questions for you. Let's talk about your role.
Me? What do
Yes.
I do? All right.
Mm.
At the law firm, I'm the chief of the criminal section, but as for like legal cases, I do criminal defense. So I used to be a prosecutor, which is like the state. They
Hmm.
put people in jail. I really didn't like it that much. It wasn't for me. I
You
felt
don't like
bad
putting
for
people into
people.
jail?
No, it was a lot of, this was in 2004 and five. It was a lot of weed cases, and I'm like, man, this is stupid. And
Yeah.
so I didn't feel super cool about that. I did get a badge. I had a badge, and I remember I got pulled over once in some small town in the middle of nowhere. And what you do is you get a wallet that
Hmm.
has the badge in it, so you just have to like, well, looky, oopsie doopsie, there's my badge. And I pull it out, and he was like, well, try to go slower. And I was like, oh, I'll definitely try. I'll try
Yeah.
my best. But
There's no promises.
you do get, they call it professional courtesy. You do get benefits if you're part of the home team. When you get pulled over, they treat you way different. But no, I take defense cases. Most of them are in Kaufman, and most of the ones I take, me myself, are the super serious ones. So,
Our first section that we're going to be talking about here is going
yep,
to be traffic stops and DWI nuances.
sure.
So I have a very simple question just to start us off is can police search my car without a warrant during a traffic stop?
Oh man, the answer is yes for different reasons.
Hmm.
And the worst one is they're gonna go, your car smells like weed. And since weed's illegal in Texas,
Hmm.
mostly, that means they can search it. And the problem for us is we can't really challenge it later going, well, no, it didn't smell like weed. It's kind of there. I get to search your car for free card. That's one way. It's a very common way they get in your car and then they don't find any weed. They'll find something else. And I'm like, see,
Right.
you just made it up. That's really, really common if they want to get in your car. They know we can't you challenge them. And
Right.
the judge will always believe the cop over, their client saying he
Somebody.
didn't smell like weed, right? So if your
Yes.
car does smell like weed, dude, get to take care of that. Like, go get that. What is it? That ozone or something zone stuff? Do that.
Yeah.
That's really common. The other thing is if they're going to arrest you and tow
Hmm.
your car, then they can do what's called an inventory search. Now, so the
Right.
idea is they're going to write down all the things in your car to protect them for you in case they get stolen, which they don't care about your
Yeah.
stuff. They're sending it to the pound. They don't care if the pound steals your stuff. They do it because they're looking for more stuff, right? They want to
Right.
get in the trunk and look in there. And so that's called an inventory search or a search, kind of incident to arrest because they're taking the old car away. The old fashioned on view arrest, where the police will go, well, I can see something illegal in your car. The one, this is just makes me nuts, these weed cases, but they call it shake, right?
Hmm.
Like, and it's like itty bitty pieces of weed. And they're like, well, I can see teeny tiny weed leaves in your car, mister. So now I can go in there. I'm like, dude, that's so lame. The
Hmm.
last one is because people say yes. I'm like, why would you do that? So they're like, hey, do you mind if I search your car? Do you have anything you shouldn't? Or then they make the same joke. They go, do you have any
Hmm.
like guns, drugs, or hand grenades? Because they're trying to be cute. And they want you to go, no. Well, then if the answer is no, then why can't I search? Well, you don't know this cop. He could be a thief. He could be a weirdo.
Yeah.
So don't let him in your car. If he has to ask, that means he doesn't think he has a reason. And so you
It's
always say no,
yes.
right?
And I was gonna say, like, if they do ask to search the car, am I just supposed to flat out say, oh, like, no, thank you? Or is there a better way to say, like, I don't consent?
Yeah, just say no will work. You can
Okay.
say no with a reason, but no is a complete sentence. You can say just no, I value my privacy, right?
Okay.
Or no, I don't really know you. And they're asking to search because they think you're a criminal. They're not
Right.
asking to search to help you clean it up and go through your stuff. They're asking to search because they want to take your ass to jail. And you can just be nice, but just say no, no thanks, not today. I'm busy.
Speaking of DWI cases, what I have here in my notes, technicalities in DWI cases are
Yeah.
constitutional violations. So when a traffic stop is executed without reasonable suspicion or failure to adhere to the rigid
Yeah.
statutory 15-minute observation window before breathalyzer tests. So
Ooh, that's a lot of question.
yes.
Even reading. All
Uh,
right. It's a lot to unpack
so
there.
could you explain blood search warrant defects and calibration log gaps for breath test machines?
Yeah, I can explain all this stuff, man.
Awesome.
Are you kidding? So when I started, they only did the breath test
Mm-hmm.
because it was really hard to get a blood test. You had to find a way to bring a warrant to a judge in the middle of the night, have him sign it, and then get them to a hospital. And the hospital's like, we don't want this liability. And so they didn't want to do them.
Right.
And so people just did breath tests. Okay, so the first 10 years of my career, it's like 80% breath test. Well, then they
Mm-hmm.
figured out we can just have them sign the warrant like on their phone with DocuSign and fax them over a fill in the blank form that says we get their blood. And then they passed a law that says the hospitals have to do this and they're not, and they can't get sued. So that really changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll start with, you said technicalities. We'll start with that because people always wonder if they could get out of the DWI on some technicality. They like to ask me like, well, they wrote my name wrong on the ticket. I'm like, well, that's not
Mm-hmm.
really the thing that's going to win the case. They can change your name on the
Yeah.
later. They'd love that one. They put 5'10", I'm really 5'8". I'm like, that's not the case cracker, dude, that you're not the right height. But we talk about DWIs and steps, right? So reason to pull you
Mm-hmm.
over, reasonable suspicion of a traffic offense, which there's bazillions of traffic offenses, and if they follow you long enough, you're going to do one, right? And
Yeah.
you'll know if they want to pull you over because they'll do either dirty license plate light, that means you got profiled. They just want to
What
come
you've
in your
got.
car and talk to you. Yeah. So if you get pulled over for dirty license plate light, just know this guy does not like you. He thinks you're sketch. Following too close, yeah, you got profiled too there. So if you get one
Yeah.
of those, just know that cop thinks you're a scumbag. All right. And so, but they have to have it. Like they have to have a real reason. The problem is there's like 1,000 real reasons to pull someone
Right.
over. But sometimes they get it wrong. Like they'll think the law says something it doesn't, and they'll pull you over for that. And like, well, that's not a law. And so then you move to suppress stuff. Texas has a suppression rule that if the police break the law to gather evidence, you can't use it. And so
Mm.
if they break the law on the stop, that kind of hurts them down the road. So then you got to go from stopping you to like DWI investigation because
Right.
a ticket offense, your license plate light can only last as long as that investigation requires. And so how long does it take to investigate if your tail light's out or your
Mm-hmm.
license plate's dirty? I don't know, a minute. Okay. And so then they run your license maybe 10 minutes. And so they're trying to stretch it out because they want
Right.
to talk to you. They want to go, you've got slurred speech and bloodshot eyes and thick tongue and all the stuff they check the
Mm-hmm.
box for. So they're trying to get you to talk. You don't have to say anything. They can go, you know why I pulled you over? You go, I don't know, you're lonely. You know, just say anything to them. Just
Yeah.
don't start talking because they're gonna say you're talking. The way you're talking means you're drunk, right? And so, but they got to bridge that gap from stop to search, get you out. Don't ever do any of those stupid tests. Don't look at their pen. That's another one. The pen's like the I smell weed thing, right? They're gonna go, hey, look
Yeah.
at my pen. They're gonna say you failed. They're gonna say you failed, and your eyes are jerking around. And there's nothing we can do later about it because it doesn't. It shows up a little bit on the body cam, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And so just don't do any of them. Just say no, I don't do those. And there's nothing they can do. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
They can't make you look at their pen. And
I do
so
have a question
yeah.
regarding that. So say I say no to the field sobriety test. Are they allowed to take me in on probable cause due to me refusing those?
Oh, they're gonna take you in.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're gonna
And that's when you
check.
do the breathalyzer.
Yeah. And so what they're going to do is because Texas lets you arrest people for anything on
Mm-hmm.
DWI, basically, the case law is really bad, but it's probable cause to arrest you. And they're going to say in every case, same stuff bloodshot, water your eyes, slurred speech, odor of an alcoholic beverage. Sometimes they put thick tongue, which
Mm-hmm.
is a phrase that no one uses but cops and DWI arrests. Sometimes they'll put unsteady balance or something, but
Mm-hmm.
always bloodshot, glassy eyes, always odor of intoxicants, always, speech issues. And that'll be enough, but it's enough to take you to jail. And then that's when they go, hey, do you want to take a breath or blood test? Now, this used to be a real big deal,
Okay.
right? If you're going to do it or not. So I guess we can jump right into this if you want to. Back in ye olden days, they had the little breath machine at the jail, and it was like this old dumb computer looking thing with a hose on it. I think I told you this. Like the computer's from like 1978. It's like the same age as like Pong, which is a reference you won't get, but it's old. They just never changed it. And so they go, hey, I'm asking you to take this breath test. If you don't, that's a refusal. You get your license suspended. If you do and you fail, you get your license suspended. If you
Mm-hmm.
do and you pass, you get to keep your license, and we got to figure out what to do. And so they do that sometimes now. Sometimes they just skip all of it and get a warrant. They don't even ask you because like they don't care. And they can
Yeah.
it's just like a waste of time for them. And they don't care if your license is suspended, which we have these driver's license hearings. If they try to suspend your license, you have to request a hearing. Like say you refuse,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, they have the hearings on Zoom now. And for some reason the police haven't been showing up, which is weird because we used to have them in person, like at 8:30 in the morning in this horrible office building in Dallas,
Mm.
and it sucked. And you get there and like this sucks, and the police would show up to that, but for some reason, making them come on to Zoom, they don't want to do it, and so we've been winning a lot of ALRs because the cops just can't do it on Zoom, and some of them they'll be in their car, they'll just be in their car, going like, "Hey, reading the report."
Yeah.
So, if you do lose your license, though, unless you've had a lot of DWIs, you can get a occupational work permit and we can work it out. So
I do have a little follow-up question. So, whenever you get arrested
yeah.
on a DWI, DUI case, and you do take the breathalyzer and it comes back like you were completely sober and the cops were wrong, will that arrest still stay on your record?
Oh yeah. Couple things. If it comes back with no alcohol in it, they're going to send it to the drug lab to see
Mm-hmm.
what pills you take. But let's say they both come back, right? Then it's
Perfectly clean.
completely screwed up. Well, then the DA will probably dismiss the case. And then you have to file for an expunction. Now, Texas, the laws are pretty crappy. Expunctions are lawsuits. You have to
Mm-hmm.
like serve all these parties. Like the FBI gets noticed. They don't care. But until you expunge it, all of that's out there. Your arrest,
Okay.
your mugshot, your bail bond stuff. And so you have to go do it yourself.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
if something like that happened, though, I'm pretty sure the DA would agree to it and it would go a little faster, but you still have to pay some lawyer to do it. And
Right.
so, I mean, it should happen automatically, but it doesn't. So you got to go and file a little lawsuit against every person who has your records. So the clerk, the DA, the police, the sheriff, the bonds, the jail, everybody, the FBI, NCIC, DPS, they all have to get listed and served to get your case expunged. So
That is way more work than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like, oh, we were wrong. Oops. And it's definitely not like that.
they
Wow.
don't have any of those in the system. There's no oopses. Like to get a case dismissed can take a year for a bad case. And like right now, they're trying really mediocre cases in Kaufman County, at least. And so cases that would never go to trial like 10 years ago, they're just like, screw it, we'll pick a jury. We'll let the jury sort them out now. That's kind of what we're doing because nobody wants to dismiss anything.
Right.
So it's it's not the system you think you're in. It's the one we have. There's a saying, it's like we have a legal system, not a justice system, right? And if they happen to meet, it's coincidental. There's more forensic evidence and body cams, so there's less cases where it's just this person says you did it and you say you didn't. And when I started, that was like a lot of my cases. The
Right.
cop says you did it, you say you didn't. That's the whole case. We would try those kind of cases, but there's less of that now, for good and better or for worse. So
Yes. We are going to move on to our section 2. This is going to be covering domestic violence and assault. Very heavy topic for my viewers. This is your trigger warning if you have dealt with any of this stuff. What should I do if I'm falsely accused of domestic violence?
Oh man, that's a good question, but I gotta start with some context.
Yes.
When I started out as a prosecutor in like 2004, domestic violence is usually a misdemeanor, it's a class A misdemeanor.
Yes.
And I had all these cases, and they had like photos, like real film photos. I was like,
Mm.
look at this. And I'd want to try these cases. I'd be mad, I'd be like, why'd you do this? And I was in Texarkana, which is like on the border, and Arkansas is on the other side. We're on the Texas side, obviously.
Yes.
And so the complaining witness, which is generally, but not always, wife, girlfriend, baby mama, spouse, fiance. Everyone's fiancés, by the way, in this thing. Like as soon as the person gets arrested, they want the case to go away. They're like, I want this over with because they want him back. They don't want him arrested. They don't want him to go to jail. They want the case dismissed. They want to drop charges, and they're like banging down your door to drop charges. And so I had a hard time subpoenaing people across state lines. You know, my boss is like, we're not going to spend a lot of time doing that. So I had to figure other ways out to work these things. And when I was in Wichita Falls, they would have the victims or the complaining witness go take a class to get a case dropped. So not the defendant, the other person. And the class was like, here's your resources to escape. Here's how to get out of the situation.
Right.
And I always thought that was a good idea. And no one's copied that. And I tell everybody like, you should copy that. No one does. But in general, as soon as the person gets arrested, the other person wants it over with. They're like, oh my gosh, what's happened? And now they've got these restraining orders, which means you can't go back to the house for like 3 months and you can't talk
Right.
to the person. And they put in these provisions like you can't talk to the victim or the complaining witness's family. Well, if that's your spouse, that means like your kids.
Right.
And so you can't talk to anyone. They hate that. They're like, we can't. He works and takes care of the kids and takes them to school and takes them to soccer. And so a lot of them, they're just ready to get rid of this thing as soon as it starts. And so let's say, and I'll say this, I get a lot of people who I go, well, if you want to drop the case, why'd you call the police?
Yes.
Like, why'd you do that? If you don't want any of this to happen, and they'll be like, well, I just wanted them to leave. I'm going, it's not how you get people to leave, right?
No.
And so then you got a problem with they told the police some story. Now they want to come back and say a different story, which makes them not look not credible.
Yes.
But if you're falsely accused, you've got to you can't talk to the person, you're usually the girlfriend, wife, fiance, baby mom, whatever. But the lawyer can. So we call and go, hey, what do you want to do this thing? Right. And we can have a hearing to try to get the protective order and bond conditions changed, right?
Right.
So that you can either go home or see your kids. But that's not easy. It actually makes it pretty hard to do. But that's like step one. And we can have him sign. It's called an affidavit of non-prosecution, but the DA wants him to do it there. They want to go meet with the victim team there and make sure they're not getting shaken down or threatened.
Right.
And so then you can do that. I usually tell my clients, you know, we're going to have a couple of weeks or months at least till this thing gets going to go. I like just go start taking anger management. Just take it. Just so because what they're worried about, they as in the prosecutor, is that this is going to escalate or they're going to have to come back. So we got to show that you're taking this seriously and it's not going to happen again and
Right.
all this kind of stuff, right? And so a lot of these don't go to trial because the victims won't show up or the complaining witness. And you can have people arrested for not showing up, but who wants to do that, right? No one wants to do that. And so there's a lot of ways to try to get these to go away by doing a lot of stuff. Like I said, like take anger management or go to couples counseling or all this stuff. And so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of ways to dispose of these cases that aren't just, you know, it's self-defense or we're innocent or we didn't do it. It's a lot of
Right.
like couple therapy stuff. And so that's what you got to work on. But a lot of scenarios too are like two drunk people and it's late and they're making bad choices and
Yeah.
they get home from the bar and they bring up some subject that they don't like and then it ends badly. Every case is different, but you know, couples all have different kind of problems. It's like I said on the expunction, it's slow. It takes a long time. It takes a hearing. You got to go to court. So nothing happens fast, right?
Which is so
Also,
crazy to hear. because in TV shows it's so like bang, bang, bang. Well, you're arrested, you're at court, and it's over with, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, it's because no one would watch like a reality show where it took me like a year to get a case finalized. It would be the worst
Yeah.
show ever. Like this show sucks. I'm gonna watch this, right?
Yes.
But with domestics, I mean, it's a lot about the relationship and do they want to stay together? They have kids. What's their situation? You know, you got to learn a lot about these people and kind of what they're going through and convince a
Right.
prosecutor that this won't happen again and everything's going to be okay. And but it's extremely common. It's one of our most common offenses. We do consults on them constantly, just all the time. And so, I know. I just tell people if you see something getting heated, just leave.
Yeah.
Don't be there. Just get out. Go do something else. Right. But in the heat of the moment, people want to win the argument. I'm like, no, you don't. Just not worth it. It's a unique deal, man, because it's a very like politicized kind of offense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to stand up for victims of domestic violence. And then at the same time, a lot of them don't want the case to go forward. And that's
Really
prosecutors
hard.
always they're surprised when they find that out. They really are. The new
Yeah.
ones. They're like, well, this is a good case and we're gonna go in. I'm like, is your person gonna show up? They're like, yeah, why wouldn't they? I'm like, did you ask them? And they didn't. They just assumed, right? Because what they saw on their TV show
Yep.
that they always show up and they always want to fight. It's not true. Humans, the heart wants what it wants, man.
And I feel like
And
it's so much harder when they have kids, when they're living together. I feel like nobody really thinks about the fact that it's so much harder to get out when you live together and you have kids that are bonding you to each other.
yeah, typical case like dad makes the most money and he pays the bills and then he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes the kids to soccer practice and all of a sudden mom's alone with three kids and can't talk to dad at all. They can't even text each other.
Right.
And so they have like the protective order, which they issue when you go to jail. It'll either say don't threaten the person, which is the one they should use, but every now and then they check the box that says don't talk to him at all, which sucks because that means everything has to go through me. And
Yes.
I'm like, oh, you gonna pay the water bill? I'm like, come on, man. And so we try to get those changed, but
Yes.
there's no reason to not have them talk at all. And if they have kids, it's like logistically impossible. No, they're unique cases. I forgot what the question was. What to do if you didn't do it? Call me, we'll
Yes.
figure it out.
So I feel like we kind of talked about this, but can a victim drop assault family violence charges in Texas?
I mean, they sure think they can, but they can't. So
Really?
in Kaufman County, the tradition is they go to the DA's office and they meet with a victim coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a prosecutor, and they fill out a form and it's an affidavit of non-prosecution, which is a pretty please, don't go forward on the case. Now, they have a little questionnaire they make them fill out, like, why do you want to do this? Right? Or what happened? You
Right.
know, why do you want this to go away? And they go over that stuff. And so like like 99% of the cases we get dismissed have to have that, but those don't cause dismissals. Like
Okay.
they're just a step. Like they're not legally binding.
Okay.
Like as soon as the police show up, it's out of your hands. Like they can do what they want. And so if it's a real, I tell the people this too, if it's like a real kind of ticky-tack deal and the police can't figure it out, like they just get there and everybody's screaming, but nobody's like injured or they can't tell what happened. They'll issue a
Right.
ticket, or they'll issue both of them a ticket. And that's kind of a signal to the lawyers that, okay, this is a bullshit deal. Like they'll issue them both Class C assault by threats, which means you said mean things to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happens, but no, victims can't drop charges. They think they can, though. They really do. They're like, well, they'll go to the police the next morning and go, hey, I want to drop the case. And they're like, he'll fill this form out. And they'll even tell me, well, I already dropped it, so it's over. I'm like, no, not really, man. You're just
It's
getting
just the
started.
first one of the steps
Yeah,
to get that done. I thought you could just drop any case without a million steps.
I wish. Hell no. You can't drop any case. Like, we have cases that the complaining witness, the victim, doesn't want anything to do with it. And the state's like, oh, we're going to do it. And they're like, okay. And it's all up to the prosecutor, man. It's what
Oh
they
my
want to
God.
do.
I cannot think of any follow-up questions for that segment. I feel like we covered a lot. So we're going to move on to drug charges and constitutional rights.
Okay. What do you got?
So, what is the difference between constructive possession and actual possession?
Oh man, all right. Possession in Texas, the easiest way to talk about it is like care, custody, and control. So there's drugs in the car. How do they prove it's yours?
Right.
Right. And so the first way they prove it's yours is they go, "Hey, is this your drugs?" And you go, "Oh yeah, those are totally my drugs." I mean, I don't care if they find them in your pocket. Don't say shit. Just
Yeah.
don't give them an easy win like that. Come on now. Because they'll just start pulling stuff out like, what's this? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's my boyfriend's meth. Just shut up. Just
Yeah.
stop. Stop talking. And so, well, then they can prove, well, you knew it was there. And so then they kind of got it. But one problem they run into is what if there's like five people in the car, right? And
Right.
so it depends on like where do they find it, right? Do they find it under like the seat? Do they find it in the glove box? Like where was it? And so they'll take that and try to say, okay, well, you're closest to it.
Hmm.
So that means you did it. Which is weird. Or they'll take the person who has like the most arrest history and go, I guess it's theirs. Right. And so, all right, I'm gonna go over the affirmative links. Constructive possession. Oh, there's a whole bunch. So we already went over some of these. It's like where are the drugs in the car? Whose seat was it under? Right, that's a big deal. So if you're the passenger and it's under the passenger seat, they're gonna say, okay, these are yours, right?
Right.
Can you see them like easily or like they super hidden in some secret compartment or something, right? That's another deal. People's criminal history is one of the issues. Like they don't really list that as the Court of Appeals. They don't really say, hey, that's one of the issues. It is. That's how the
Yeah.
police do it. Right. And then what kind of space was it in? Is it in like a shared space, someone's backpack? You know, that's one way they try to prove who it is. People ask me if they're gonna like fingerprint it or do DNA on it. No. What they're gonna do is charge everyone and then see if someone cops to it. That's
Right.
like the classic move. They go, well, we'll just arrest them all and let the system sort it out. And so everyone goes to jail for the drugs,
Yeah.
and then
I'm
someone's got
sure
to
it's
take their rap for
everybody
it.
denies it as well.
Well, usually they'll get someone to go, okay, right? But
Yeah.
it just depends. Like if you're in federal court, you got to go run the snitch first, or you get the worst deal. State court's a little different, but sometimes you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
but let's get a little off topic. So we're in Dallas. And drugs go east to the East Coast. They come up from Mexico, they go east. And so going east through Kaufman on 80/20, 175, you get drugs. Coming west, you get a bunch of money because that's,
Right.
you got to pay for them. And so they have a lot of ways to try to, the mules, that's the drug carriers, right? And
Yes.
they'll get paid a little bit to just move this stuff around and they'll go to Atlanta or, you know, Atlanta's a big one. And so they'll either have like one or two people in the car. They'll have some kind of like decent backstory. They can try to say, here's where we're going, right? If there's a lot, like they arrest everybody. There's like a joint, maybe they don't. Maybe they
Yeah.
just arrest one person and make them figure it out.
But if
But
they're
if
like
there's,
smuggling,
yeah, if there's like a bunch of drugs in your trunk, everybody in the car is going down. And like, well, here's the thing: there's no, I think I've said this. There's no disincentive to getting it wrong. So let's say the police arrest four people in the car and three are innocent. What happens, you know, to the police for arresting three innocent people? And the answer is nothing.
yeah,
There's
they were still in the
no
car.
there's no accountability for being wrong. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. The DA doesn't get in trouble if they're wrong. The police don't get in trouble if they're wrong. There's not because people ask, can I get my money back for the lawyer fees? I'm like, nope. Can I sue somebody because I'm innocent? Nope. And so that's just not in the system. And we don't have any kind of accountability for that. So why not just arrest everybody? It makes your job easier. I mean, you're more
Right.
likely to get the right person if you take everyone. So there you go.
That's so insane. I forgot that Kaufman County has people going through it that are
Yeah,
taking stuff east.
80-20. 20's big.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is, like, if it's a big case, like a DEA case, is they'll wait until they get into Kaufman County to pull them over because they know that the Kaufman DA, if it's not big enough to make a Fed case, will give them way more time than the Dallas DA. And so, like, the feds won't take us. The feds want kilos and kilos. They won't take a little bit of drugs. They have all the
Right.
drug cases they want, but they'll get a tip from one of their CIs that something's coming east, and they'll pull them over for dirty license plate light.
Yep.
And if it's just like half a kilo, they'll let the state keep it. But in Kaufman, that's a huge case. For a Fed case, that's like nothing.
Yes.
And so that's really common.
I don't know if you know this is a follow-up question. Where do the drugs that they possess from these situations when they pull these people over, when they catch them, where do those drugs go? Are they confiscated?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't give them back.
Well, I was just wondering, like, if they like sent them away and they're like, oh, bye.
So they send part of it away to test. That is
Okay.
right. They got labs. They do like gas spectromography and mass chromatography. Actually, I got that backwards. But they test a little bit of it to go, here's what this is, right? The rest of it they keep in the evidence logger. And so KSO keeps a lot of it. That's the sheriff. Your local police can keep it too, right? But it's all just sitting there. And so every now and then, almost every year, I read stories that someone robbed the drug room because those drugs are worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so they want some of that. So they get out and go sell the drugs that they took because
So
they're
insane.
just sitting there. Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense.
Well, we had a constable, or maybe it was a police chief. It was Talty. I can't remember. He had trial during COVID, so we had to watch it. But he was taking guns that people just left in evidence, and he would just use them and sell them. And he was like selling all these guns. And so he actually went to prison.
Well,
And
I think he should have.
Yeah, and so it's your evidence locker is full of valuable stuff, right? And so it's very tempting. They're like, well, no one's gonna miss a little bit of drugs, right? Who's gonna know? And so that does come up every now and then.
I don't want to say it's funny, but it makes me giggle a little bit that they're just going in there, like taking a sniff of whatever drugs it is and going back to work, you know?
Well, it's before we had body cam, my clients would tell me like, hey, they seized $5,000, but I had 10.
Oh.
Right. And so they had like a little police handling fee for seizing your money. But like, what are we going to do? We can't prove it.
Exactly.
And that was the biggest deal. And I got told that all the time. And so now there's body cam, so they count the money out there on body cam, and it's harder to steal money than it used to be. But you know, we get people, they used to tell me too, like, well, the police planted these drugs on me. And before body cam, you'd be like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like there were things you couldn't prove. People ask me that. They go, can you prove this didn't happen? I'm like, well, it's really hard to prove a negative. Like that's
right.
Like I wasn't there, right? So that's one area that body cam does make it better. There was some cop, you'll see, you can Google this, but he got caught on body cam planting drugs on people. That was like his thing. Yeah. He's like, you should have some yeah, you should have some drugs on you while I arrest you, and let's plant them on there.
So insane. Do they make more money doing that, or is it just like for the fun of it?
Well, let's say motivations are different for this. Some of it will be they know the guy's a bad guy. They think he just hasn't been caught for something yet, and they need a reason to dirty him up so they can really take him in on a real charge because they don't have anything. And so they'll be like, well, you know, I pulled you over and I searched you and you didn't have anything, but I really would like to arrest you because you suck. So I'll find a reason. They'll find a reason to justify it, right? Like these are bad people, so I should do it. You know, or maybe you're right. Maybe they need to make their stats because drugs are felony arrests in most places, and so that you get some more stats for the month, and you look productive, so you can get your little try to make sergeant bonus.
Right.
So,
say somebody goes to arrest me. I know I don't have any drugs on me. How do I exercise my Fifth Amendment right without looking guilty?
Well, A couple things. One of them
Okay.
is saying like you want a lawyer, you're not going to be searched, I plead the fifth, all that stuff. That's really hard to get in front of a jury as evidence, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, they can't use it as evidence of you being guilty. But it plays out the best if you look like you're just doing it on principle and just say that, like, I don't have anything on me, so you have no reason to search me, so I'm not going to consent to search. If
Okay.
you're real, like if you're an ass, like you're not going to search me, you suck, pig, but
Yeah.
well, it's not going to play as well.
Yeah, I've
So
seen too many police body cam videos where it does not go well when
they
they say
do,
stuff.
man. They learn these little rules, and I'm like, well, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. That's why you get
Yeah,
tased. But just say I don't consent to searches. And if they search you anyway, then they have to have a reason. But if you
exactly.
consent, your consent's a reason. So I'm like, man, never give it away. Make them work a little bit for it.
That is true. So, going back to our talking points on police misconduct, we're
Go.
gonna switch over to our fourth segment about police misconduct and government accountability. What is Brady material and how does it protect against
Mm.
police misconduct?
Oh man. Let's talk about Brady material first.
Okay.
And this is a true sentence. And I don't like that it's true, but it is true. I have given prosecutors more Brady material about their police officers than they've ever given me. And so, what does that mean? Because I ask for internal affairs files all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't. And so they wait for the police to tell them that somebody's got a history,
Oh God.
and the police don't always want to share that information. And so Brady materials like stuff that looks, it's like exculpatory is the word we use, but it
Mm-hmm.
could be used to show you didn't do it or to challenge one of the elements of the case. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
police officer's credibility is almost always going to be some part of the case. It's not an element, but like he's the one who's going to say you did it.
Right.
So how honest is he matters. And so well, right now we had a case. The chief detective of a local police department got fired for reasons, and I just got a notice that said, hey, this guy's can't testify. I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know, they didn't tell us. And so I filed a discovery request to make him turn it over. Well, they objected because they didn't want to give it to me, but this isn't my first rodeo.
Yeah.
So I filed a subpoena to the city, making them bring the records anyway. And then I sent an open records request because police internal affairs files are open records. Like, I'm getting
Right.
this stuff. And I got it. It was bad. This guy was lying all over the place. And
Oh God.
so I handed them the stack of stuff that they didn't have, that they should have.
Right.
And now they're doing this weird thing in Kaufman where for dirty cop records, they're making the judge look at them to decide if they're Brady material or not, if they're exculpatory. And I'm like, if a police officer does something bad enough to get fired, it's probably
Yeah.
going to be
It's probably
exculpatory.
bad.
But they're punting on it. They don't want to be the one to turn it over. And so I got one right now. I got a notice that said, hey, this detective got let go. And I'm like, what for?
Why?
And they're like, I don't know. And then we're going to get the records. We'll give them to the judge. What they shouldn't. They should give them to me, right? And so we're supposed to have a hearing on it. And I'm said, no, let the judge look at it. I don't care. So I
Yeah.
sent an open records request so I get the same thing. Like, why wait for it? But I don't know, it kind of subverts the principle of the DA should turn over exculpatory evidence. For some reason,
Right.
they do not want to. They will not make it easy. And I mean, it's been so bad in the past. I remember this one guy, he got moved up here from Uvalde County, and in his
Mm-hmm.
file was a letter from the sheriff and the DA. This never happens. It goes, this guy is a liar. I will never use him as a witness. I was like, oh my God, bad, bad, bad dude. And I had him on a bunch of cases. And so
Mm.
I got this big, huge packet. I remember when I got it, I was like, holy shit, this guy did some bad stuff. It was like that thick. And so then I gave it to the DA. Well, then they have to give it to everyone who has a case with the guy.
Right.
And they left my cover sheet on there that said, dear Robert Guest, here's your stuff. So everybody knew I busted this guy, and one of the I had trial, and the DPS troopers were mad at me because he was their friend. And I remember this trooper said, "I just want you to know all the DPS officers know what your car looks like." I was like, "Well, that's good because I know what your cars look like too." And so I guess
Well,
they were really mad. I ran off their dirty cop friend, and he was awful too. I'm like, "You do not want to go to bat for this dude," but
yeah, I'm like, did they read the stack? That's so
no.
insane.
They didn't. They just thought this is their friend they've been working with, and me and old Robbie Guest ran off their buddy,
Oh God.
But
You mail the stack to them with a little bow on it. You're like,
I
here.
should. He sucked. He shouldn't be a cop. But we're kind of known for doing it, so we just got another one, and we just had one, last year, and so
Mm,
it continues. But that's not how it's supposed to work. The DA is supposed to go get the stuff and then give it to us. Instead, I have to go get it and then argue
and give it
about
to
it
them.
and then give it to them. Yeah. Well, it's kind of it. I'll say this though, when you're the first one to find out this guy can't testify, like it's kind of I don't know. It's interesting because the world should know who the bad cops are,
Right.
and so but I get to know first. So there's a little moment of like, well, I'm glad I did this because and then I'm like, no one else who's a defense lawyer asked for this. Like, what are we doing?
Yes.
like I'm the only one, and so I am like, no one wants to mess with it.
I'm too
So.
nosy for that. There would be no way that I couldn't ask for this
Well,
stuff.
I put it in my discovery request. I'm like, hey, I want their full internal affairs file.
Yeah.
Always ask for it, and they don't want to give it. And so they have a little hearing, a discovery hearing called 3914, and they bring some cop in to go, do you super promise this is all the evidence you have and you turned it over? And they go, oh yeah, I super duper de-duper
Mm,
promise. And then I ask, hey, do any of the officers in this case have an internal affairs file? And they should say, I don't know, because they don't know, but they
yeah.
don't. They say no. And so the next day I send out a request for all their internal affairs files because I mean they don't know, right?
Yeah.
But no, there's just not a lot of like bad cops kind of get passed around.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, the one that was local, the chief did a solid job on it and got rid of the guy because did some messed up stuff. I'll skip it.
Yeah.
But she did the right thing. She's like, dude, you can't work here doing this. You're gone.
So we did cover the way if a criminal defense lawyer can access a police officer's internal affairs. We know that you request it through
Anybody
discovery.
can.
Anybody can.
Anybody can file a public information request. You can go right now
Mm,
online to your local sheriff, police, whatever, and say, I want the internal affairs file for this one person, or I want all complaints from 2026, or I want all. You can just send it. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have
Does
to
it
tell
cost
them
money?
why. They can charge you for copies, but
Oh.
what you do is you ask for it in PDF form, and then
Hmm.
they have to send it to you as a PDF. And like, what are they going to charge you for that?
Nothing.
So most of those are
Yeah.
free. But go if you're curious, go do it.
This is good to know.
Yeah.
I'm really nosy. How do we use the Texas Public Information Act, aka open records, to
Hmm.
uncover hidden police files?
All right. I'll say hidden is just like not public stuff they
Right.
don't want you to know. I have like a form statement that I use that's
Hmm.
been crafted over the years. And so since I am an attorney and on the case, I can ask for it three ways. I send a discovery request which says I want the stuff. Then I send a subpoena to their custodian of records that says you need to bring all this stuff to court
Right.
or you can send it to me. And then I send a public information request because then there's three ways they got to beat me, right? They're not going to beat me all three ways. And so you can just send a request. And the one I use is I say, please accept this email as a request for public information. I am seeking the complete internal affairs file, including all documents, text, audio, video, email, messages, statements, findings, et cetera,
Yeah.
for this either person, right, or list of people. And they'll get it, and then they get a chance to either object and ask the attorney general, or they have to send it to me. And they don't have very long, so they got to decide
Yeah.
real fast what they're going to do. And so what they can redact is like people's social security numbers and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Because people think you can get your police report that way, but they can
Right.
object because the case is ongoing. But that's not an objection to an internal affairs file. And so just start asking, and just list everything you can think of and make them send it to you. And you'd be surprised at
Awesome.
what you get. Plus, everything's filmed now. So you get all these really
Yeah.
awkward interviews with these officers, and they're like, well, we think you did something pretty bad. And they're like, really? Me? No way. They're like, oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And so it's just funny watching cops get interrogated because you think they would know better, but it's wild.
Do they ever have lawyers present?
So they have separate rules for being
Oh.
interrogated because they're special. They get to they have more protections than you do if you get interrogated. And then they have
Mm,
a union rep, from the Police Officers Association can come in and try to shut it down if it's too bad. But
right.
no, they get a lot of protection if they make statements because they kind of have to. And so
Okay, so we're gonna move on to segment 5, which is cleaning the slate, aka a Kaufman County
go.
focus. So, how do I expunge or seal a criminal record at the Kaufman County Justice Center?
We got to start with what's an expunction. We got to start with the basics. So expunctions delete the records.
Yes.
They literally take the paper file and shred it, throw it in the shredder and it's gone. And they have to delete everything off their system.
Hmm.
And you can legally deny it happened. Like your arrest never happened. So if
Wow.
you have a job application where you're arrested,
No.
no. So how do you do that? Well, first you have to qualify. And
Right.
so the ways you qualify are you can get a not guilty verdict. That's the easiest one, you know. So go do that. Or they have to dismiss it for the right reasons.
Okay.
So a lot of times they'll dismiss a case and there's a list of reasons on the dismissal. And it'll say in the interest of justice, which just doesn't mean anything, or a witness won't appear. And those aren't reasons you can automatically win on. The judge could still
Right.
object to it and the state can object to it. And there's waiting periods. Sometimes you have to wait for the statute of limitations to run. So misdemeanors 2 years, felonies 3 years to forever. You've got to file a petition for expunction. You have to list every entity that has your records, which is going to be the police who arrested you, the sheriff because you made bail with the sheriff, the
Right.
clerk because the clerk has your record, the DA because the DA has your record, DPS because they got a copy of it too, and they send it to the FBI. And so you got to list all those entities on there to get notified, right? So you file it, and then they all get notice and they can object. Now, your name's Olivia, and that's no, not too common, not too uncommon. But if your name's John Walker or
Right.
Robert Smith, there might be a guy in jail for murder on that with the same year as your birthday, and so you got to prove you're not the murderer version of
Right.
yourself. And it's actually not that hard, but if you have a common name, that does come up. And so in Kaufman, they get the expunctions, they look at them, and then they make you set it for a hearing. But we usually don't have the hearing. They usually agree to it the week before. They'll look at it and agree to it, which is totally different than a non-disclosure. But we're just talking expunctions.
Yeah,
So,
I think we went into non-disclosure last episode,
all right.
I believe.
I mean, you can do it without a lawyer, I guess. Now
Hmm.
everybody's got a form for everything, but it's something where if you mess up and get it denied, you may not be able to file it again. And so you really don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of do-overs on it.
Let's move on to our last question then.
Go. Bring it.
Does the Kaufman County District Attorney offer pretrial diversion to keep your record clean?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about what pretrial diversion is. It's feels like probation because they put so many rules in it. You feel like you're on probation. But
Yeah.
the difference is you never pled guilty. You just reach a deal with the DA where they'll dismiss your case if you do a list of things. And the things usually include take some classes, take some drug tests, give them some money, stay out of trouble. And our programs are long. They're a year or 2 years for diversion. Where Dallas, it's 2 months or something to get
Right.
rid of it. They call them conditional dismissals. We do some of those, not as many. But family violence, we get a lot of pretrial diversions in that. And they'll be take anger management, do some community service, go to couples counseling, don't get arrested, don't use drugs, don't drink, and then in a year we'll dismiss it, right? And
Right.
so, well, what's the difference? Well, you didn't plead guilty. You didn't plead anything. You didn't go in front of the judge at all. Like pretrial diversion is like a contract with you and the DA.
Right.
And so their agreement is, okay, we'll stop prosecuting your case while this goes on. And your agreement is, okay, I'll do all these things. And at the end of it, for diversion, you can get it expunged. So that's one of the right ways to get it dismissed, to get an expunction. So Kaufman County definitely has it. Can you get it? Depends on, A, is this your first offense? Because if it's not, it's going to be really hard. B, what is the offense? If it's like THC related, those, a lot of those get deferred. Like
Right.
those vape sticks are a felony, and that's stupid. Other things can get diverted, but it really depends on kind of the facts of the case and your criminal history, which you need to have none.
Yeah.
And so they make you apply for it. You got to like write a letter why you want it and fill out a packet to why you deserve it and disclose your criminal history. I mean, they make you bare your soul to these people. And then there's a person who reviews your packet to decide if you get in the program or not. So first, you got to get your prosecutor to agree to let you apply. Then your client applies. Then the application goes to somebody else. Then they can either put you in regular diversion or tell you to go to like a specialty court, because we have DWI court, drug court, mental health court, and veterans court.
Okay.
And so those can all be part of diversion too. But we'll skip that because that's a lot.
We can do that next time. Okay, well, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and answering all the questions that I have. It is very lovely to learn more. And I was honestly surprised with a lot of the answers here today. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers before we end the video?
Yeah, I mean, just thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. If you find this stuff valuable, then, like and subscribe and share it and comment about whatever it is you think was interesting. But, we're guestingray.com. We're here in Forney. Give us a holler if you get arrested or in any kind of trouble. We do a lot of different things, but it was a fun episode. Looking forward to the next one.
Yes. And also, if y'all have any questions, feel free to drop them, DM us, all the good stuff. We would be happy to answer, and we look forward to doing another. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.